I've been volunteering at the Flagler Humane Society for almost a year now, and it concerns me to hear that previous volunteers are talking terribly about the shelter, not only at these meetings, but all over social media. The only ones they are hurting are our dogs waiting to get adopted.
The Flagler County Commission and the Palm Coast City Council held a joint meeting last night to address concerns raised about the Flagler Humane Society, including issues of unjustified euthanasias, the dismissal of volunteers, and the facility's capacity to care for an increasing number of animals. These concerns were brought to light in recent weeks by former volunteers at various government meetings. In response, many current volunteers and supporters attended last night's meeting to defend the Humane Society.
The whole time I've been there, 2.5 years, I've never seen a shelter animal, cat, dog, mistreated. They are well taken care of. And the ladies and the men that work there give it all. I will not believe anybody who says those animals are mistreated or not taken care of.
Every time that I've been there, I've observed professional, caring people who are overwhelmed because they don't have a budget, and they cry and their hearts break for any animal that is not savable. The allegations of abuse and putting an animal to sleep unnecessarily, euthanasia, is not warranted. It's not true.
I have lived with dogs my entire life. If I had any concerns about animal well-being at the shelter, I would resign my volunteer position. With that, you'll see me walking dogs this weekend. I encourage the community to support the exceptional efforts of the Flagler Humane Society.
Critics were also in attendance.
The short time I volunteered there in the last couple of months, there are many, many red flags, many more than I can put in this 3 minutes. The shelter infrastructure is old, needs a lot of work. It was meant to house animals for short periods of time. If you go to many, many shelters, you're all welcome to mine. I know you're welcome to Brevard's. You'll see how a shelter should be set up for animals to live there more than a couple of weeks. This is not it.
I was previously a volunteer for 2 years at Flagler Humane Society. I love every one of those pets. It's amazing, and we do have some good staff that loves them as well. But unlike, as Tammy stated, the training, it doesn't exist. There's no training for the volunteers.
Innocent animals' lives are at stake. And yes, I know that the shelter is terribly overwhelmed. And what we are looking for is change. We're not trying to shut a shelter down or cause any more harm to animals, but it is time for change, and we really need help to make that happen.
Government officials in attendance agreed that the shelter's overcapacity issue needs to be addressed. This local news on Thursday, August 29th is brought to you by Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow you.
I can understand us needing to fund things and finance further out, but don't strip the citizens of their rights to decide in referendum.
We're getting reaction to the fireworks at Tuesday's Palm Coast City Council meeting.
Mayoral candidate Mike Norris says he does not support the referendum the way it's currently written.
Well, they voted on that measure on the 14th of July, and I was there in chamber when they did it, and I actually got up and I spoke. And I said, look, if you need to adjust the debt ceiling for the city from $15 million, well, do that specifically in the charter.
Norris says he does support increasing the limit to how much the city can borrow.
They could have modified the charter to account for inflation, whereas it was $15 million. I said you could raise it to $30 million. You could even raise it to $60 million, but don't take the citizens' rights away of voting on referendum to raise the debt ceiling. The founders of our city did that for a reason, and that was to protect us financially, to keep us from getting in debt. And I have no problem. If you have to adjust for inflation, that's fine, but don't just completely remove part of the charter and move along and have unlimited borrowing powers on the city's name.
Tomorrow, we'll hear what Norris's opponent, Cornelia Manfrey, has to say about that ballot measure. I'm Daryl Moody reporting.
What is Flagler Forward?
Flagler School's Director of Student Services, John Finelli, said that it means doing what a school does best.
What Flagler Forward really means is working towards student achievement. That is our goal. We're a school district, right? So we want to help every student in our district reach that maximum potential.
Finelli said that students need to be held to high standards, but they also need the support of parents, faculty, and staff to achieve that. Listen to Flagler Health Matters here on WNZF, Saturday mornings at 11:30 or anytime on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, Diploma Plus. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.